Last week, HBO released another trailer for the upcoming 7th season of Game of Thrones, which doesn't really show much worth talking about, but it did get me thinking. At the end of the trailer, Cersei breathes out a cold breath to signify the advance of the White Walkers. Now, the threat of the others, or the White Walkers as they're known in the show, is that they will bring about the end of Westerosi society through means of conquest and annihilation. But here's the thing, if we really think about it, this goal has already been near enough achieved, and they haven't had to lift a finger. I would argue that the Night King and his cronies aren't the ones who will destroy Westeros as we know it, because Westeros as we know it has already been destroyed. They just don't know it yet. At the start of the books in the show, there were a number of great houses within Westeros, each with long and storied histories that stretched back to the coming of Aegon the Conqueror, and many even further than that, going all the way back to the Age of Heroes and the Long Night. I mean, we're talking thousands of years here. If these houses were to have existed in our world, some of their histories would go back as far as to when there were only 5 million people on the planet. So long ago that somewhere near the Jordan River in what is now Palestine, folks were only just erecting the Wall of Jericho. That is a very long time. These houses are more than simple systems of governance. They are institutions built into the very bedrock of Westeros itself. And yet over the course of the show, which is a relatively small time, nearly all of the great houses have been irrevocably damaged beyond repair, to the point where the feudal system that has come to define Westeros is approaching almost certain extinction, and all of this before the Night King has so much as set foot south of the wall. At the start of the show, in regards to the great houses, we had House Arryn, House Frey, House Greyjoy, House Lannister, House Stark, House Tyrell, House Tully, House Baratheon, House Martell, and House Bolton. We also had Daenerys and her brother Viserys as the last surviving members of House Targaryen. First, let's get into the houses that are just plain extinct. House Bolton, House Martell, House Baratheon. These guys are gone, donezo. As far as the show is concerned, these houses no longer exist. And just to reiterate, this video is solely concerned with the TV show and not the books. Yes, you could technically argue that the Sand Snakes are bastards of Oberyn and that they could carry on the Martell line, but with Ellaria Sand seemingly taking on the mantle of Princess of Dawn, that looks a little far-fetched. Then there's House Tully and House Targaryen, two former great houses. While it's true House Targaryen looks set to return with a bang, that's hardly set in stone. And as for House Tully, yes, Edmure still lives, but Riverrun now belongs to the Lannisters. They were never able to fully recover from the Red Wedding. Then we have the houses that look to be in severe jeopardy. House Tyrell, House Frey, and House Arryn. The Tyrells lost both of their heirs as well as their lord in the destruction of the Sept, with the elderly Queen of Thorns being the only living representative. Arya has assassinated Lord Walder Frey as well as his 2 sons. Yes, there's a ton of Freys, but it doesn't seem as though the show plans to give them much credence. And despite the fact that we all hate his guts, Lord Walder Frey was a stabilising force. Whoever seeks to claim the twins now may just have a familial civil war on their hands. And as for House Arryn, they currently see their entire future in the palm of Peter Baelish Littlefinger, of all people. I mean, a man who has already successfully killed their lord and their lady. Something tells me that young Robin does not have long for this world. Finally, there's House Greyjoy, House Lannister, and House Stark. The Greyjoys are somewhat exempt from this, as the Ironborn choose their leaders anyway, and Euron is a Greyjoy, but even so, with the murder of his brother Balon and his attempts to snuff out Theon and Yara, we could see the end of that house. The Lannisters may now be the de facto royal house of Westeros, but even so, it's super unlikely that Cersei will ever again have children, or even take a husband for that matter. And Jaime is a member of the Kingsguard who has no claim to lands or titles. Their salvation rests almost entirely on the back of the exiled Tyrion, but to be fair, I wouldn't root against him. Then there's the Starks, who despite having been decimated, have returned through Sansa Stark. Now we all know that Jon isn't a Stark, and will more than likely find that out before the end of the series. They also have Arya, who could very well return to Winterfell, and Bran, who could also return, which means that despite everything that's happened to them, they're currently not in the worst position. I mean, it's not good, but it's not the worst. Still, the house is a shadow of its former self, and restoring it to glory may not be possible with the White Walkers knocking on the door. So you see, the Night King isn't going to destroy Westeros, because Westeros has already been destroyed. The great and capable leaders that once stood as bastions of their houses have all returned to dust, and a new age of governance now seems all but inevitable, whether or not the ice zombies pour down from the north and wage their terrible war. The world that we knew at the beginning of the show is gone, and the only thing left to see is exactly what the future holds. Thanks everybody for watching this video. You can find a bunch more Game of Thrones content on this channel, as well as tons of other nerd and geek videos. Please remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, as this stuff takes a while to make, and tiny gestures like that really do help to allow me to keep making more content more frequently. Anyway, have a great day everybody, and I'll see you again soon.